What should you do if you like a girl? Well, that's the title of the video that we will be reacting to, and here goes. Okay, Bismillah. So this is, for whatever reason, this comes into the recommended video that I have, not I have to watch, but YouTube recommend this among other videos, and it caught my attention. I'm not saying I'm going to, because I'm alhamdulillah happily married. I'm not suggesting that second one is on the way or anything. No. Hopefully my wife is not watching this, but anyway, so that's this will be the video that we'll be reacting to, and we'll go straight to it.
All right, so I'll start with the most fun question. What's the halal way of approaching a girl you like? Even though that's question number 12, I thought, this is more complicated. We've made it more complicated than the Sahaba.
Okay, before we go further, apparently this video is I think it's snippet from a longer lecture or question and answer from a lecture or something, and then they take the audio and make the video here, right? So I think that's the context. But anyway,
so the Sahaba were simple people, and they came from a very rebellious society where men and women did all kinds of things and nobody cared. And then Islam came. And I want to give you some background here. You know, in Medina, when the Sahaba migrated, the Muhajirun were bankrupt nearly, right? They left everything behind. And Medina was a crazy place. Right now it's Medina Munawwara. But Medina back then was Las Vegas. It was bad. When the Prophet went there, it was not a good place. Okay, you have to understand, it was a crazy, crazy society. For instance, one of the most common industries in the city of Medina was prostitution. When the Prophet moved there, and the women that were brothels, like prostitution houses, they used to have flags outside their house that this is a place you can come for those kinds of things. And a companion comes to the Prophet and says, Ya Rasulullah, there's a woman, because he doesn't make any money, he's a Mahajan. There's a woman, she makes good money, I'd like to marry her. And what does she do? Oh, well, she's in the... You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to spell it out. And those, you know why I'm telling you this? Because Sahaba didn't even know that's a bad thing yet. They were also learning, weren't they? They didn't become angels overnight. They were being developed. And so he doesn't even think. And imagine, you come to Rasulullah and ask this question. Can you imagine somebody coming to an imam today and saying, hey, so I'm thinking about... the next janazah would be of the sheikh. Like, it would be... And then the ayat came, no, you cannot marry those kinds of women in Surah An-Nur. Like, revelation came to teach Sahaba and teach the believers, look, those are not the kinds of people you want to marry. They are their own, don't mix with them. Like Ibn Ashur says, rahmahullah, in his tafsir, that ayah is referring to professional prostitutes, and the zani will not marry a zani is referring to them, because the question was actually raised. I wanted to bring this up to you because for them, you would think that, if the Sahabi saw a woman from a mile away, he went the other way and made istighfar the whole night. No, it wasn't like that. They interacted with each other, they talked to each other, they worked with each other, they were in business partnerships. All kinds of interactions happened between men and women, but with principles. It was respectful, it was dignified. And when a companion, when somebody liked somebody else, you know what they did? Here's the astaghfirullah part. Here's what they did. Hey, I like you. Want to get married? And she'd say, maybe, talk to my dad. He'd say, okay. And then you go to the dad and say, hey, I like your daughter. And I talked to her, she's not entirely opposed to the idea. Is it cool? And he says, let me talk to my daughter. How this happens today in London is you go to a girl, respectfully, hey, we worked together for 3 years. Would you consider marrying me? And she's like, And maybe she says, please don't talk to my dad, he'll kill me. Because if you talk to my dad, Don't say, this is why you go to work? This is why we sent you to uni? Like, you, fathers, I have 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters. Listen, those of you that are fathers, that have daughters, you sent your daughters to university. You brought your daughters to this country. You made them live here. You took them outside in society. You made that decision. And when somebody like a Muslim likes them, that's a good thing. How are they going to get married sitting at home? Who's going to like them? So when somebody approaches them in a respectful way, you should not say, oh my God, the day has come, astaghfirullah. You know, ye din bhi dekhne the, oh tawbah, tawbah. You know, what a humiliation. Now we have to go take you back into Bangladesh and hide you in a village somewhere because some guy likes you. Astaghfirullah. You know, and there's the, you know, somebody's doing ruqya on her, and calm down. It's okay. Somebody likes your daughter, that's a good thing. Now you go and investigate, find out. It's completely fine. The only rishta mentioned in the Quran, the only approach mentioned in the Quran is that of Musa alayhi salam in Medina. He was by himself, Musa was by himself, and these girls were by themselves working outside, and he went up to them and helped them out, and the girl said, he's kind of nice. And she went back to her dad and said, hire him, which means, come on dad. You know. And that happened, and the girl said, I like the guy. That's actually what happened in the story of Musa. Musa didn't propose, the girl proposed. And the father can't propose unless he has the approval of his daughter. So it's okay for your girls to say, Dad, there's this guy, this brother at the MSA, yeah? He's a Thursday halakah. It's really good, you should come. Your daughter's telling you something. It's okay, go attend the halakah. It's okay, find out. Don't complicate it. There's nothing indignified about that. Don't go date a girl now. And don't take, oh, son, no mind gave a lecture, I'm going to take you out to dinner. No, no, no. Not that either. But can you have respectful interaction with someone you're interested in for marriage? Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Can you take your time to understand each other's likes and dislikes? Yes, it's fine. Respectful courtship is okay. With parental guidance, in dignified fashion, there's nothing wrong with it. So what happens is we have 2 extremes. We have people that are more conservative than the Sahaba, and then we have people that are more liberal than liberals. Okay? And Islam is right in between. It's a natural way. It's a completely natural way. Okay? And so this is something that I thought it's important to mention for families and for yourself. Talk to your daughters. Ask if they like someone. Don't create between fathers and daughters, there should be open communication. They should not be terrified to tell you that they're interested in somebody. Don't force them to marry someone they don't want to. Don't force your daughters and tell them, if you don't marry this one, who's going to come and marry you? And we already said yes to them. Don't humiliate the family and say no now. Those kinds of nikahs are haram. I will say it, they're haram. You cannot emotionally and psychologically force a girl to get married under family pressure. That is batil. And that happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ considered those nikahs batil. They're invalid nikahs. Until the girl genuinely likes a guy and says, yes, I want to marry him on her own, from no pressure from her father, no pressure from her mother, no pressure from anybody else. She likes him. And even if the day of the nikah she says, Mom, I don't want to do this, the mother doesn't say, too late, girl, too late. We've got the hall, they're all, what are people going to, no. If the girl says, I don't want to do this, then no, stop. Allah gave her that right. You cannot take it away. You're burying them alive. This is the new way of burying women alive, by the way. Back then, they used to take the baby girl and bury her right then. Now we bury them at the day of the nikah. This is what we do. This needs to stop. Let them marry who they want, if they're a dignified Muslim. And because now you're living in a different society, you won't find someone from the same village. It's okay. It's okay. A Bangladeshi can marry a Syrian. It's fine. I know. It's okay for Syrians too. Yeah, we're Syrian. Turkish. Somali. Astaghfirullah, Somali. Yes, Somali. That's fine. You know? You know, Musa alayhi salam is an Arab. Musa is an Arab. Or actually not an Arab. He's from Israelite. And he married an Arab. He went and married in Madian, didn't he? So many Arabs say, we only marry Arab. Really? Musa alayhi salam was actually from Israel. What's up with that? You know? It's all good.
at the end. Okay, this is interesting because the video is actually stretched out to have 10 minutes. That's what YouTube do to you, right? Because you want to have 10-minute video, and hence it stretch out even though the content is over. So yeah, that is what should you do if you like a girl. Alhamdulillah, I'm already married. Yeah, and like in the earlier part of the video where that's the meaning to the parents, etc., etc., right? So, and of course, it's easy for me to say because I come from the background. In this country, we are still, for the most part, quite traditional, and those values are embedded in our daily life, and hence marriage and family discussion, consent, etc., etc., is for the most part is part of the system, hence it's close to what Islam want. Although there are also elements where in the event of the ceremony of the wedding, etc., there are some things that should be corrected that is not directly in line with Islam, etc. But anyway, yeah, so I'm not sure what to comment on, because I think if you listen throughout, you get the gist of what you should take from that reminder. And yeah, I think the important thing is, for me, is just maybe to end this off. My normal advice to young people out there is, make sure you have a clear vision what you want in life, and make sure you know and understand that there are several things, several options, several things that you decide in life will directly affect whether you will get to the goal or not, right? One is the selection of career, right? For many people, when you select or go into a certain career, it changes the whole dynamic of your life in terms of your free time, not free time, commitment, etc., etc., etc. That's number one. And number two, but of course you can still change career, etc., right? So it's still manageable, but for the most part, it does have, this is my opinion, but anyway, it does have a great impact on how your life structure as a whole, right? I purposely choose to be an academician or a lecturer, to be specific, because back then a lecturer have more time to give to the effort beyond your 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 job, right? So you have your NGO, your dawah movement, etc., etc., etc. You can give a lot more compared to my friend who choose to be in the, I don't know, in companies, engineering companies, etc., where you are, most of your time is there already, and the time outside is quite limited, right? So that's number one. Number two is who you get married to, right? And because marriage is sharing of life, and hence in extension sharing of goal, sharing of vision, etc., right? So if you have different values, if you have different goals in life, etc., it can be very challenging, not just for you but for also for your partner, for example, right? So it's the best if both of you are happy to go into the direction that both of you want, compared to sometimes some people do not realize that they seems, it's okay, but it's okay, it seems okay because their partner is the one who is suffering, right? And vice versa, right? So because this video is talking about when you already like a girl, right? But my advice here is before that, make sure you know what you want in life, so that will implicate how easy you can be attracted to someone. For example, right? If fundamentally I want someone who share the same vision in terms of living as a Muslim, because this is the truth, this is the way of life, etc. So even if I come across very attractive girl that is not Muslim, for example, doesn't have the same goal in life in that sense, right? it's very hard for me to like her in the sense that I wish her to be my wife, because so level of attraction, visual attraction, attractiveness, I'm talking about men now, right? Because we male human being tend to be primarily attracted to visual, right? um, Even though that is attractive physically, but because I already have this goal in mind, then it doesn't come into here, then I didn't fall for that one. So I think that's important, right? It's much harder to navigate, and once you do not have any basis in life, you don't know what you want in life, and suddenly you feel attracted and you go towards that, and then you want to find how to together to go in a certain direction where she wants to go that way, you want to go that way. It's very tough, right? So if you have added layer of goals in your life on top of just being a Muslim, for example, I want to do this, contribute this into society, etc., 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 do da'wah, etc., for example, then also that if you are clear with that, I think it becomes more difficult to be attracted for to those, even though physically it's attractive, but your heart already set into going to the goal, so that kind of filter who you tend to fall for, right? So that's my advice based on my personal experience. So thank you for watching. See you next time.